at this guy.
There he is.
He looked like a dog. He's carrying things in his mouth. Like, I mean, he's limping. He's got right hand full, left hand full.
I go, is Norm here? Because Norm has a bike.
Up?
You know, my pops have that little scooter.
Oh, man.
And I saw the scooter outside. I go,
beep, beep.
who
Here
invited
comes Allen.
Norm?
I broke my back.
Yeah, he's on the 60.
You guys got jokes.
No, we
on the
love you.
IL. Come on, man. You're doing it to yourself.
Yeah.
And now you got the people on YouTube
Tell me
watching
how
you do the
that
whole
helped
thing.
him.
And now you're really going to get in Dibley's banana chair. Like, you think, does that help the thing?
It is,
That's my
man.
guy.
That
Hey,
hurt more.
Styles.
Well, the last thing I need is sciatica now that I got a bad
that's
wheel.
true.
So I got
That's true.
to at least work on that. You know what? You guys got all these jokes. When I
What
did
are
that show,
What are you
I
talking
did that
about?
show with Dibley July 3rd. You know what he
Talk
said to me?
I listened.
Hey, Alan. How can I help? He's getting me water.
you got
he's
him
giving
down.
he's giving me, just words of encouragement. I get on yesterday, Sindy saying, how do you feel that you may never walk the same again? And now you guys are giving me grief. What is this?
It's not
Well,
great.
I'm not going to go
We
full
love you,
Steiny
man.
on you, but
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I listened to that show. I was like, man, he almost gave you a radio hug. Did
I know, he did.
Talk to me about Roy Firestone. How do you feel?
He was just happy to not have me there for a day. Let's be honest. That's just,
Since you went
yeah,
there.
come on. It's not a,
he's probably locked in, though. Let's be
Yeah.
honest.
I love
He knows
you.
what's going on.
Hey, I love both of you. We've been having fun. Can I throw a question? Because I've been waiting since
Of
about
course.
12.
That's your show.
well, yeah.
I'm going to use the Giants as this example.
Okay.
Who's the face of the San Francisco Giants? I'm going to get your two answers. And two, how important is that?
Can I answer the second one first?
You can do it however you guys got. I can't wait for both of your answers.
It's very important. It's incredibly important, I think, for an entertainment entity to have a logo that's not the letters
Steph
of their
Curry.
city. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think now you
hope.
don't always get one. We could probably go around to some successful teams in sports right now that don't necessarily like a good NBA team's always got a face.
No doubt.
Because that's just the way it is. A good football team usually has a face. We just fall back on the quarterback. But I'll give you, for instance, sometimes over the last few years, the Titans have been good. I guess you go Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I was gonna give him
but
the
like,
nod,
right?
yeah.
It's a little different, but it's very important. And who is the Giants' face right now? I mean, the person who gets the most discussion is Farhan. And that's
We
not,
had called that was
that's
it.
not
That
what
was-
you want.
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
That's not what you want. You
Okay.
don't want your general manager to be the face of your team.
Or your manager. I think there's some people we've seen. Gabe Kapler. I mean,
That's a good-looking face. but
it is. Very well trimmed face.
Alan,
Strong.
how you see
obvious,
it?
Strong.
obvious.
Yeah.
I see it because of what he's done for the organization and the fact that he's really
I know where you're going.
the last horseman from the even year ride. It's Brandon Crawford.
Brandon Crawford.
It's Brandon Crawford
But
to me.
that's by
Yeah, man.
if it was
Like-
NASDAQ, his stock ain't up right. He ain't in his prime. You know.
Okay, but I'm not gonna take it there. But he's essentially a version of the Giants' Derek Jeter, right?
no
and
doubt.
Derek Jeter, his last year was nothing to write home about. He's still the face.
So
It's the
with
same
that,
thing to me.
Brandon's got a negative WAR.
I
He's
hear
a
you.
low
No, I
replacement
love
level
everything
right
he's
now.
done.
And-
But Willard,
of
can I
course.
use his answer to your answer? If it's Brandon by default and they're having success, I like watching them. And Farhan's responsible for the next Brandon Crawford. How close are we from the Giants having an everyday player? Because I said the pitchers don't count. They do. Had a great night last night. But how close are we to the next Brandon Crawford for the Giants?
Who knows? I mean, that the job is open. The job is open, and it could get
Help
filled at
wanted.
any time. Right? It could be filled by and it also depends on what
Ohtani.
you do. Well, it could be filled by Ohtani. It could be Patrick Bailey if they win a World
boy.
Series in the next 2 or 3 years, and he has a Buster Posey type of a. I mean, if you've got to give it to a player, it's Logan Webb. But that doesn't.
One every 5 days.
I'm going
No.
Crawford over Webb.
No,
Alan.
because Webb's.
I am.
A love for the winner of the All-Star game
yeah,
last
okay,
night?
okay.
Well, you know what? Well, let's go here.
Tranquilo.
Well, I got two
Tranquilo.
things.
Reputation.
Yeah, I got two things. Number one, who would you call the face of the team during those even years? Was it Buster?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No
Okay,
doubt.
it was
Yes.
Buster.
Yeah.
And now number two, looking at this team, what is your definition of face? Because if you go around and ask a bunch of random people, name 3 guys on the Giants, Brandon Crawford's name is going to get named the most.
Sure, but that's longevity more than.
But
effect.
that's part of my face.
Sure.
That's why I ask what is
it's a
your
connection to
what is your
nostalgia.
face?
And my trouble with it is that he is. It's hard to
That's
be the
man.
face when you're not having that much of a current impact.
Udonis Haslem.
And you're at the end.
He was never
and
the
you're at
face.
the
He
end,
was never
right?
the face.
Yeah.
I
No
mean-
shaded, Brandon. You're at the end.
But this gets wonky. Like the 49ers are really good. Who's
This
their
is-
face?
Tell him.
Kyle Shanahan.
And is that a good thing?
I don't.
Kyle likes it.
I don't think so.
And that's what I believe.
It's
Like,
circumstantial.
Kyle
It's
likes
because
it.
they don't have an established quarterback, though. But I would argue that George Kittle is pretty damn
Yeah.
close.
Checks all the boxes.
Right? George Kittle is his versus Kyle Shanahan, who's got like a more defined 49er branding. I might argue that Kittle is ahead of Shanahan.
Yeah.
But
Once
it's
Nick Bosa
circumstantial.
gets paid, it might be him.
Maybe, but
And-
he doesn't have the personality for it.
And people like a nickname. I would say Deebo isn't far. I would put
But
Kittle
2 years
over
ago,
him.
Deebo
Might
would
not
be
be on the
number
team next
one.
year.
I said when he beat Dallas and Green Bay and they
Yeah.
went to he was like, what happened?
Well,
and
what
it's
happened
not his
is-
fault.
What happened is they got Christian McCaffrey. They started doing the Spider-Man meme. You doing my job?
Or the reports that when he scrubbed his IG, I love it.
Well.
Were they using him too much? Like, was that a turnoff to him? And then now all of a sudden it's like, dude, look around. How many targets you gonna be getting? Because
Well.
Brock was making sweet music with Kittle,
Kittle.
looking like Kelsey, Ayuk, who I love.
You got a whole group of people that every year, Ayuk, man, don't
Dude,
sleep on
I
him.
just-
which
I
you
just-
shouldn't. Which you shouldn't.
I just
Just
say
fourth
this, though.
season.
Also,
I like
though,
him,
to
man.
be the face of a franchise, I've watched, how many players have we watched do this where at the twilight of their career, they suddenly understand the handling of the media and your
That's
public
deep.
persona.
Wow.
Barry Bonds, Kobe Bryant, on and on and on. And that's one thing I would say to Deebo right now. I know that we can be annoying. We can be super annoying. I get it. We ask the same question. We think we're funny. We talk too much. I get it. You can be totally put off by doing media. But if you handle it the way that you now have a couple of times, Deebo, even on this station, if you do that, there's a cost, and being the quote-unquote face of an organization is part of that. George Kittle would never have done that. He never would have done that.
Now, I just threw Debo's name out there because he is Deebo, but he might not. He probably don't want to be the face.
No,
Let's be
I
honest.
don't
maybe
think he
not.
does at all.
Maybe
he wants,
not.
He wants the
I don't
money.
think-
What
I
would
don't-
make you three
Fred-
say that
Without
he
the
wouldn't
fame.
want to be the face of the 49ers?
Fred Warner would never have done that.
Well, no, okay, that's different.
But I just
But
mean
the
this-
face is
They're built
that's part of
differently.
it.
But Fred Warner never would have said what Deebo said to begin with, probably,
probably.
which led us all to this
Probably,
situation.
Probably. But again, that, like, to me, we overplay the subject matter as if Zach Gelb was like just way out of left
He
field
didn't
or
deserve that.
inappropriate or trying to go viral or whatever. He moved off of it right away. He could tell Deebo was put off. And so he said, okay, let's talk about this year's game in Philly and how it might be different. And Deebo went, bye.
No, well, they did
Night.
say
Yeah.
we're good to go here.
What
Bye.
did the handler
But
say? We're done here.
Right.
Ashley, Ashley.
Lucas just brought up a really good point.
Hey, Lucas, I'm out.
The annoying stuff that media do,
There's a bunch.
Rich Eisen just did it to Kyle Juszczyk last week, and Kittle picked up the phone,
that
jumped
would
in
be-
on
I
the
would- no
interview,
doubt.
and was like, Rich,
Yeah.
this is lame, dude. Like,
Yeah.
come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, we've all answered. We're sick of answering this question. Make a joke out of it.
All right.
Be a personality. And that's why. And you're right. I don't know if Deebo wants it. Deebo may not care, and that's fine.
It didn't sound like he did. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, he also, like, immediately, if that's off-putting and you can tell that's what your subject isn't really interested in talking about, I mean, well, then you might just have to cut the interview short yourself. Like, I don't, maybe he had an idea if that's where he wanted to go with things after the quarterback.
I don't think he
But-
really had he didn't have a shot. It ended so quickly. He had two little playful questions about his comments. He didn't want to do it, and then he moved on to the upcoming game.
But do you
But-
follow
let's
up
say-
twice with a player or a person that tells you that's old news? I'm not talking about it. Why do you continue to dig? Is my question.
I don't even.
If you know
kinda
that a guy
think-
doesn't want to do
I don't think he. I don't think he really did. He first brought up the comment, and Debo's like, "That's old," and then he was like, "Well, do you still like feel that way?" And Debo was like,
And said, "We'll
"Yeah."
find out week 13."
Right. And
and
then
at that point, you move.
Well, he moved. Here's the thing.
He moved on to week 13.
To be fair to Deebo on the opposite media side, yes, he did move on, but he moved on by saying, you know the Eagle fans are going to boo you, right? Do you have a message for Eagle fans? That's Beatty. That's Beatty. What are you supposed to say?
I agree.
We talked yesterday, Willard. You could have said some vanilla answer and got it out of it.
No doubt.
But it was a Beatty question. Let's just be honest here.
So you're
Do
saying
you have a
Zach was trying
message?
to go viral?
Well, yeah, and he did.
And that's
He went way more viral by what happened than anything Deebo could have
so
said.
who lost in it? Nobody really lost. Deebo ain't tripping at Willard or
No.
anybody saying he handled it
No,
wrong.
he's not.
I'm sitting back. You're addicted to social media because I admit I am.
Yeah.
I just said, oh no, it's 90-yard. But listen, it went viral. So the job was like who?
Job well
the
done.
Win was
Gelb won.
exactly.
Look, Deebo didn't have to answer a question.
Yeah.
Everybody talked about Zach Gelb more than we probably talked about him in the last 3-4 years. So to me, everybody won.
And Deebo knew what he was doing, Willard, that he knew that ending was going to go viral.
Can you imagine, though, when they do play?
I don't think he thought about it that way.
Well, but if you listen
And
to
so-
it a minute and a half after the call drops, he starts talking about how ridiculous, unprofessional.
Yeah, he went in.
He dug in on him after it was over.
And rightfully so, because of the reason that I pointed. I still think this is the most under-discussed but most important part about this for listeners to understand the way an interview comes together. If Deebo had been doing this out of the goodness of his heart, like, yeah, Zach, I got 15 minutes for you because I like you or because whatever. If that had been the case, this is a different conversation, but there's a PR rep there. Deebo is selling something. He asked to come on Zach's show. And the give and take is, if you're going to come on my show and we're going to promote your thing, you now owe me. You owe me some time here, and Deebo bailed out on it. That's why it's inappropriate.
But how much promotion was there?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But
exactly.
you knew what time
So
it
there
was.
But that because that's the part that didn't go viral. I haven't listened to the whole interview, but I know the promotion part came out. They did it right off the top.
Deebo got fed.
This is essentially like Deebo stole. This is no different than going to the store and taking a pack of gum without paying for it. He asked to go on the show. He promoted his thing, and they said, you get 15 minutes if we promote this thing. He stayed for 5 and he left.
You got a lemon tree, right?
Yes.
Your neighbor says, hey, can I borrow some
we
lemons?
do have one,
I make the best lemonade you've ever had. The neighbor comes over, borrows a bunch of lemons, and only gives you a glass. But the neighbor took enough lemons for a whole carafe. That's what Deebo did. Deebo just gave you a glass.
But you also said that you could come over and get lemons. You didn't say how many lemons.
That's true.
You didn't put a cap on it. So if I come over and I grab the entire tree, then you're saying, well, how come you did that? And you said, I got to have some lemons.
It's the MLB of lemons. There's no salary cap.
Yeah.
Deebo.
Another reason why Deebo Samuel probably can't be the face of our 49ers franchise. By the way, you're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ, and HC1 San Francisco and Odyssey Station.
I don't know what's going on in Bristol. I am not ashamed, Allen, to tell you, Willard and Evan, before I got into the business, morning talk show was my thing. It's my newspaper. First Take, Cowherd, Skip and Shannon.
Yep.
This morning, I know what's going on with Skip and Shannon by default.
Yeah.
Not till next month, Skip.
Skip's telling you.
You need to look in the mirror. You casting the checks. Something ain't right, okay? Then,
by the way,
Take,
I'm not following what's going on. What's he saying?
They were supposed to come on last week.
Okay.
This was supposed to be, Allen Stiles leaving the show. We got somebody that a line full of people that want to fill his
They
shoes.
still don't have
one.
somebody.
No, it's just Skip was telling us.
So now they pushed that to August 28th. This Skip has never been off the air this long, and now they're reporting he's seething. But it's your own fault if nobody's knocking on the door. I don't know, but it's odd, and I know you want to talk about and fire off all these takes about free agency. So you're not on for a whole nother month. I'm like, man, First Take. I know Steven's got his podcast now, and he speaks out about his job at ESPN. I know Wimbledon's going on, but usually they have him on ESPN2. I need to get a life. That's not on.
Well, they always take a break during this time, but yeah, it is a little wild.
I'm looking at the TV like there is life after the morning shows. So, the morning talk shows. So I say all that to find out today, with all the layoffs at the 4-letter network, I didn't know the ESPYs were on. And I'm like, Willard, Stiles, should they have took a year off? Because they don't have their traditional Steph, Drake, Chris
Who
Rock.
is hosting, by the way?
There's no host. It's just like the
Could be a
video
cast of
screen is going to
characters.
be
It's
the
like-
Might be
the
Deebo.
moderator.
I can't remember if this
Dude,
was on
they
purpose
should've
or
took it
not, but
off.
the MTV Music Awards did the same thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a new thing. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's AI, right?
Well,
What's
we
going
know
on
they're
here?
cutting back. I
Right.
just took it
Yeah.
as
I feel you.
should they have sat this one out?
It's programming, so that's a little bit
It's
different. It's a little bit different, right? There's advertisers involved in everything, but yeah, like I mean,
A lot's
we've seen this
happened. A
with
lot
a
of
lot of
big wigs.
companies do layoffs, and then like a few weeks later, they're patting themselves on the back with some event, and you're like, boy, if you'd just taken the money.
timing.
You're taking the money from there and put it towards your employees.
So MTV did that. Huh?
MTV
Without
did that. I
the
could,
Chris
but they
Rock?
were supposed to have a host. I think it was Drew Barrymore, and then somehow it fell through. Who knows? You know what? They should have just had Pat McAfee do it.
Oh, well,
He already in the building. Let him do it.
Yeah, your check's clear.
But I mean, yeah.
John's checking in. He says the reasons possibly could not be having a host is because of the writers' strike that's currently going on.
That's a great point.
Maybe another reason we haven't heard it promoted
But
as
aren't
much.
comedians supposed to? I'm
Thank
going
you, Jim.
rap. Write their own material.
I mean,
They give
who
it to
does
you,
that
Willard. Here
anymore?
goes
it
Joe.
gets dicey
Here go
because
10
you
jokes
go
on
does
Goo.
that?
What is it? The
Say
10 second delay? You don't catch it, Goo.
say the wrong thing. Someone
Yeah.
will get out of their chair and come smack you in the mouth.
Yeah, come on, Goo.
You know what I mean?
You can't put yourself out there.
You gotta be careful.
And by the way,
Anyway,
Goo, you gotta keep that left hand down when you're talking about that. That watch is blinding me. I already got one bad
You mean
leg.
the Nixon 5130?
That's the
Yeah.
beast right
Flavor
there.
Flav clock.
That
right
is
over
the
there,
beast
my
right
God.
there.
Is it real?
Well, it's stainless steel. It's a Nixon. My corporate
just
days when I used to sell education, your boy was fitted, had his own office, and I'm selling $50,000, $60,000 pharmacy technology. If you wanted to be a pharmacy tech or a dental hygienist or a RN, my job is to make you in front of your parents, recommend you to the enrollment review board. So I'm not going to spend the money, but I can see some of the parents like, how much the program? And look down at my watch as if it's a Rolex. And I can look like, D, you ain't getting a deal. Then you looking like a cricket car salesman. So I had to get something more, not bling bling.
Yeah, a little less, a little more humble.
Less is more, baby.
5 o'clock meeting. You drove
Ohtani.
off in a Prius. You're like,
Ohtani,
hold on
a giant.
second.
I can't stop thinking about it.
Well, listen, there's a bunch of interesting stuff there.
My gosh.
There's a bunch of interesting stuff. First of all, I'm trying to figure out what was the tongue-in-cheek nature of Alex Cobb's comments last night.
He's
because
coming.
if you read him, he's just like, he's not coming to Seattle. He's coming to the Giants. And I'm like, this is tampering. This is wrong.
Everything.
This must be totally like Brandon Belt-ish. This must be totally tongue-in-cheek, which I do believe that it was. But a few things there. I had not realized the Alex Cobb connection until a few days ago that they were teammates.
Yep.
And the way that Alex has talked about this,
Oh, man.
he is the first person who has given us at least any insight into what makes Shohei tick. And he clearly stated the day before the game itself. He said this on Monday. He said, one thing I can tell you is money is not what is going to make this thing go round
I
for
missed
Shohei
this.
Ohtani. Yeah, Bill Shakin spoke to representatives from a bunch of teams, and he went around to like Josh Hader. Okay, what's the Padre pitch? And then he went to Mookie Betts. What's the Dodger
this is
pitch?
dope.
Right? He went to Rooker. He's like, what's the A's pitch? He's like, right? But he went to Alex Cobb, and Cobb had like the lengthiest answer. And he's like, well, I can tell you one thing. This money is not what is going to make that guy tick. I've never seen anyone more obsessed with winning. And then started to go into sort of internal things with the Giants organization that he thinks would work well. If you go back to when Shohei picked the Angels, which I think is something Giants fans can hang their hat on. This guy already once made the West Coast anti-establishment pick. Like, he could have been a Yankee.
Okay.
He could have been a Yankee. Billy Epler, who's now GM of the Mets, which is scary, was the GM of the Angels at the time. And the word is that Billy had been on Shohei since high school. He knew him. He knew exactly how to nail the pitch. And that's what spoke to Shohei. He made it feel like that was going to be family and perfect comfort. And what I want to know is, who is it in the Giants organization that has been doing that studying and knows how to nail this? Because he kind of needs to make the anti-establishment pick again. And he might.
And shouldn't that be Farhan?
It could be anybody. Sure, it can be.
He's got to be in the meeting, but it has someone below Farhan and around Farhan, I think is the question, been doing that kind of research. Look, the money to me is not an issue because he's getting a blank check wherever he goes. Like it could be 600, could be 700. If he signed for $1 billion over the next 15 years, would you be shocked?
Yes. No one's signing him until his 45th birthday, but yes.
Well, but the point is, like, he's getting whatever dollar sign he wants.
Right.
But it sounds like that's not what makes him tick, though. So it may
not. Well, it doesn't make you tick because you know you got it.
Right.
So
I do think I actually do. I don't know a lot about Shohei. None of us do. But I get the sense if you nailed the pitch, and I don't know why a team would do this. Like at this level of money, it's like throw another 25 in if it matters to you. But like if somebody felt like the right spot and offered 550 and someone else offered 575. Shohei, like, yeah, I'll take the 550. Yeah. I actually think that he would tick that way.
Oh, I mean, Aaron Judge got a larger offer from the Padres than he did from the Yankees.
Right. Well, sort of. Not. I mean, it was more years.
Styles,
total dollars. Yeah.
Do you have? And I'm being real because I want everything good to happen to all Bay Area sport teams. Do you have Aaron Judge fatigue? Like that broke me. We did the pitches on here, had fun with it. Do you have any fatigue or lack of confidence that they could go make it happen and close the deal?
No, because once we figured out, and real quick back to who should be in that room, I think a lot of people, it's new media. A lot of people are more vocal now, a lot of athletes. I think Buster Posey need to be in that room because Buster's a winner.
I think
right?
he would.
He would definitely be in it. He's a winner. He can talk to Ohtani player to player. So he got to be in the room.
I'd like to put Alex Cobb in the room, too.
Alex Cobb got to be in the room. Alex Cobb is out there.
He may be working already.
He is working. He literally is working.
Assuming he opts in next year.
Club option. Oh. Giants option for Alex next year.
Yep. There you go. But in terms of the Aaron Judge thing, I think once we figured out that he was never, once the bubble popped, that he was never actually coming to the Giants, number one, that made you feel a little bit better, and he just played the game. He's a good businessman. That's what he does. And number two, he hasn't really been doing much this year. It's the first year in a long deal. Yeah. But what were really the chances? And I thought this even when the Giants were pitching him. When somebody
Willard
is having,
Giddings did a show down in his hometown.
I remember.
I bought into it.
I remember. Was there good food down there? I didn't know what was.
I thought it was
one restaurant.
We found out it wasn't.
I love a small town. I love a small town.
They got me. I thought it was going to happen, man.
There were 2 words that I could describe all of what's going on in Linden. Not much.
Not much.
Nothing against it.
Alan, I thought they
fair enough.
It's a block long.
At the time, we thought that they had a shot. Then after it happened, we kind of all looked a little foolish because you never had a shot. So it helps that he's not balling the way he's balling. He was balling last year. So I don't have any ill will or any fatigue. I think this is a completely different situation because of what Willard alluded to. The fact that he went to the Angels over some of these other teams. And the Giants were in the mix the first time.
Yeah, but they didn't have a DH, and so you couldn't necessarily do that. You didn't have a position, right? So the National League was not on the table before, and it is this time around. That's number one. Number two, though, listen, even though we got stars in our eyes about Aaron Judge, we all heard from plenty of internal baseball people who were like, you don't leave the Yankees.
You don't.
And we were like, but maybe, and we were wrong, right?
They booed him one time,
we're wrong.
remember that?
But remember that here. You do leave the Angels.
Okay.
In fact, you seek to leave the Angels.
You go.
Right.
I think that he wants to be on the West Coast. Look, the fact that Epler is with the Mets, that's a little scary. But I think, to me, inside track, Padres, Dodgers, Giants, and if it goes a certain way,
NL West,
I could actually see, I don't know this, but I could see where the Giants have an advantage in that with the Dodgers, you're joining a bunch of all-stars. You're not changing that city.
Here.
The Padres already have 7 9-figure contracts. How do you fit that in? The pitch to Shohei to me is this city totally changes. The city, not the team. The city, in many ways, becomes about you if you come here. And that may speak to him. And it's a city that's pretty comfortable, I would say, for an Asian American.
And we're thirsty for a star.
Yes,
we definitely thirsty for a star.
Ohtani Appo.
Well, now the Mets thing is scaring me. We want to know why.
Okay.
Because they're not playing very well, right? but they have the ability
They
to
got
turn
the
it
people.
on. And number
They're
two,
lightweight doing it now.
you picked against the Dodgers, right? Where you went with the Angels. Now you already said no to the Yankees. Do you go to the Mets to go against the man, if you will? So that's a little scary.
Yeah, I don't know how much that matters to him. You know what I mean? Like,
But again, you're going to a team that's going to win, but it's not the cop-out, not
Maybe.
the classic going to the Yankees. I'm just saying, you never know.
Yep.
And you know he's going to open that wallet.
Yeah.
So
I think
one
it's juicy
thing,
to chew on.
one thing we'll throw out to everybody today. Like, what would be your pitch? What would if you were going to sit down with Shohei? What would you say to him?
I do a lot of praying beforehand, but
Man.
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, don't
Do
look
it.
at the car breaking numbers. Yeah.
All right, Guru, you're not in.
Yeah,
You are
you're not in the
room.
room.
We're going
Get out.
Alex
You gotta get out the
Don't
room.
try to-
Monster,
there you go.
not Guru.
Yeah.
All right, we're making our list.
All right, that's what's coming up
Listening.
from 2 to 6. Again, opportunity to win All-Star Prize Weekend blowout coming up next 4 hours.
Did you guys do 2 prizes? Because I heard what happened on the morning show.
No, we did one.
So are they doing 2 tomorrow?
No,
Are they doing
no,
two
just
tomorrow?
missed
Find out
out on
what
the
happened on the
opportunity.
morning.
They had 5 people call in and they all got it wrong, and they went, all right, we
That's
just-
on the morning show.
Yeah. It
Coming
was-
up next.
yeah. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Willard and Stiles coming up next, 95.7 The Game.
They're longtime friends.
Let me tell